Today is Tuesday, August 12th, and this is another update on my progress of beating the S&P 500 along with Bill Ackman's Pershing Square holdings. I do make these videos every Tuesday and Sunday, so if you want to follow along, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. So as you can see, since my last update, my portfolio had a gain of 1.67%, Pershing Square saw a gain of 3.34, and the S&P 500 had a gain of 2.33, which brings us year to date. My portfolio is at a gain of 28.05, Pershing Square is at a gain of 15.37, and the S&P 500 is at a gain of 9.84. Since my last update, I did increase my Dave position by 20%. They reported earnings last week before the market opened, and at one point during the day, the stock was trading down a little over 20%. So that's when I decided it was a good opportunity to increase my position. Overall, the earnings were good, I thought, but one thing investors were worried about was a slight increase in delinquencies for their extra cash program. But I thought the increase from 2.03 to 2.4 wasn't that dramatic, or at least enough of a reason for the stock to be trading as low as it was that day. Since the time I've added to the position, it's basically been trading flat, so for right now I have no additional plans of adding any more to this position. If we take a look at the SPY chart, you'll see that it's trading very strongly, and actually right now we're at all-time highs, and the SPY price has separated itself from the support level by quite a bit. Right now it would need a 2.68% decline to come back down to it, and if we go ahead and replace the support levels with the 5 and the 15-day moving average, you'll see it's exactly where we want it. The SPY price is above the 5-day by quite a bit, and both of those are also quite a bit above the 15. So definitely a lot more confidence in the markets as opposed to just a few weeks ago. So now I want to replace the 5 and the 15-day moving average with a super long-term trend line, and I'll zoom out and you guys will get better context as to what it means. And I think it's actually pretty significant that today we busted through it the way that we did as opposed to bouncing down off of it. So if we zoom out, this is what I meant by a super long trend line. You'll see that the very beginning of this started in January of 2018, and it starts there because that was the first peak that we saw before a significant decline. And not including the most recent one, we've had two touches that ended up seeing declines that followed it. The first one was towards the end of 2021 before we saw the declines of 2022, and the second one was in February of this year before we saw the declines in the springtime. So now if we zoom back in, this is going to be that same line that we were just looking at. So right now we're 0.84% above it, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot better than being 0.84% below it, kind of like what we saw towards the end of July. So I definitely see signs of strength in the stock market along with the overall economy. So I do intend to get my cash position, which right now is about 20% down to around 10%, maybe even a little bit lower. I was originally waiting for a market decline to do something like that, but at this point I think the odds are higher that the markets are going to keep going up. So if the markets keep going up and then we see the decline, I feel like the levels that I would be buying at are pretty much exactly the same as they are right now. So I'd much rather go ahead and get more invested right now, just in case the markets do go higher and this drop right here doesn't actually happen. These are going to be all 14 of my current positions. Right now Nvidia, Palantir, Microsoft, Meta, and Welltower make on my top 5, and those account for 38.45% of my portfolio. Palantir with an 88.56% gain moved ahead of Microsoft and is now my number 2 position. Right now I have no plans of actually trimming anything from that position. If it does keep going up at its current pace, eventually there will be a point where I should trim at least some, but for right now at least the plan is just to hang on to it and let it ride. Shopify's also done well since my last update, and right now it's at a 38.02% gain, and My Medicine is now at a 41.84% gain. So right now I have 79.19% of my portfolio invested, which leaves me with 20.81 sitting in cash. And I mentioned earlier how I want to get that cash position down to closer to 10%, maybe even a little bit lower. Pretty much the middle of my portfolio from Meta all the way down to Disney, excluding Costco, is going to be my main additions that I'm looking to do. The reason that I wouldn't necessarily increase Nvidia, Palantir, or Microsoft right now, even though they're all doing really well, is I don't really like to have a high concentration of my portfolio made up of just a few positions, which is why I'm going to focus more in the middle of my portfolio. That's going to do it for today. I do make these updates every Tuesday and Sunday, so if you want to follow along, hit that subscribe button and I'll catch you on Sunday.